Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I just got finished reviewing Kringle's Rosemary and Lemon candle. So if you're at all interested, definitely check that out. I finished both this one and the one that I'm reviewing right now in this video, relatively close to each other. This is Snow-Capped Fraser, which is what we're going to talk about. And in fact, they performed so similarly that unfortunately, spoiler alert, I, for the last several burns of both candles, had them both together in the tiny guest bathroom. I was so displeased with the strength and throw of both of them that I was like, you guys are just gonna enjoy each other here in this tiny space. And guess what? Both of them together, were they strong enough to get outside, to flow outside, to carry, to throw? No, they stayed in the guest bathroom together, the two of them. Not good. All right, so Snow-Capped Fraser. The notes on Snow-Capped Fraser are top notes amber and fir balsam, mid notes fresh, generic adjective, green, another generic adjective, moss. Finally, we have a noun. Base notes, pine, spice, and wood. So there's a lot of generic stuff going on there. I don't love it. But I do love this fragrance. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful candle. So this is not a new candle for Kringle, although it's got a lot of buzz this particular holiday season, and I think they may have poured it in the limited edition Mercury jars, as well as repackaging it in various other formats. So it kind of had a moment this year, but it's been out for at least 2 years and maybe more, because originally this candle was a country candle called Mountain Sunrise. So here's what Mountain Sunrise looks like. And it is still available in daylight form on the website, because I think they're just trying to sell through them, and it must be the very last format that is left. When they discontinued the paraffin from the country candle line and sent them all to Marshalls and TJ Maxx, I think that's when they cleared out whatever Mountain Sunrises were left. What came out with Mountain Sunrise, or is very similar to it, is Mountain Chalet. So both of them are actually very similar candles, and I love both of them. I have bought both of them in the country line with the paraffin, and I love both of them in terms of their fragrances. So Mountain Sunrise, AKA Snow-Capped Fraser. It's a really nice fir balsam. It's not quite as balsam, it's not quite as strong or pure a balsam as, say, Christmas candle, which is a dupe of Time's Fraser Fir. So yeah, I do think it probably has some pine in there, and also it's got wood, and it says green and moss. So you really are getting a lot of like outdoor tree elements. But of all of them, the fir balsam stands out. It certainly does. There is something very musky and it's the amber, I think. The amber, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bergamot in this. In terms of spice, I'm having a hard time smelling it, to be honest. Vague spice, like maybe kind of a, like a vague clove, maybe something like that. It's not overwhelmed by spice. And in fact, I could be wrong about this, but it's almost like an ozone kind of smell as well. So it is a very strong outdoorsy rugged, with the trees, with the green, with the wood, and with that ozone element, if I'm not mistaken. But then the amber drives it kind of in a personal fragrance direction as well. but it doesn't overwhelm it without overwhelming those really beautiful, like rugged outdoor elements. I really love this one. The Mountain Chalet, I also loved, and Mountain Chalet has smoke in it and is a little bit more spicy and cozy, but they're both like very similar fragrances. So this is, I don't know why they needed to change the name to pour it in the Kringle line. Like Tinseltine, for instance, is a crossover too. It can be, or it was found in the Country Candle line and it was in the Kringle line, but they like didn't change the name or the marketing. So I'm not really sure why they did that. Again, it just creates confusion where it doesn't need to be there. But yeah, it's a lovely fragrance, but the problem is that the Strength and Throw is really bad. And I have to be honest, the Strength and Throw is bad for the Country Candle too. I think I've shared this with you before, but I have like, I did have initially, when I was trying to keep everything straight in my mind, I had like a spreadsheet with all the Kringle candles, especially because initially, when I was starting to try them out, I had a ton of daylights come in. And so I like put them on my spreadsheet so that like I could remember what I thought of each candle so that when there was a sale or something, I could just quickly refer to it and be like, yes, I loved that candle. So I had separated out the daylights, very rough categories of like love, hoard worthy, good, and then okay, and then absolutely not. Both Mountain Chalet and Mountain Sunrise were in the like hoard worthy category. I love both of them so much. I liked them even better than the Cozy Cabin one, and the Cozy Cabin one was good and hoard worthy too. But then when I purchased both of them in the Country Candle format, I got them in a medium 2-wick. I was so disappointed. Both of them performed so badly. One performed even worse than the other one. And honestly, I can't remember which one it was that performed worse. I want to say it was the Mountain Sunrise that performed even worse than Mountain Chalet. But Mountain Chalet wasn't good either. And I just kept on my spreadsheet dropping the candles. Like because of performance, I had to drop them to like the good category rather than the hoard worthy. And then I like had to drop them both to the okay category, and I put on the spreadsheet, it's solely because of Strength and Throw. And then one of them, I think it was the Sunrise one, was so bad that I dropped it to absolutely no. Like I cannot do it. I can't, you know? So in some ways I was hoping against hope, although it makes no sense from the science of it. I was hoping against hope that if I burned it in the 100% soy iteration, that it would have been retweaked, reformulated, right? To compensate for the fact that soy doesn't carry fragrance quite as nicely or as well, Mick Kittredge even said that he was like really putting like double the amount of scent oils in it. So I thought there was at least a chance that maybe the snow-capped Fraser would perform better than the Mountain Sunrise did if it had like extra oils or something, but it's just not the case. I really can't say that this burned any better than the Country Candle. I don't know that it performed significantly worse though either, because I really think the Country one was bad as well. I don't really know what to say. I want this fragrance to stay around in the catalog. I really do. Because unlike Rosemary and Lemon, I do think it's special. I really do. But it needs a retool. Like it just does not amplify the way that it needs to. And there's no reason for it to not amplify. Because, and I've said this before, citrus notes and coniferous tree notes actually have a tendency to amplify and have bigger presence in your space than other fragrance notes like vanilla or something like that. So honestly, these two should not be weak. They just shouldn't be. I don't know what the issue is, but I think Rosemary and Lemon should stick around in the catalog just because a lot of people seem to like it. I don't like it personally, and I think it's kind of a mediocre candle, but God bless. If people are buying it, then it should be retooled, certainly, and kept in the catalog. Snowcat Fraser, they definitely need to keep around. Not only did it get really good buzz this year and people are buying it, but I think objectively, it's a very beautiful conceptual fragrance, especially for January, February, March, because there's no spices in it that necessarily makes it like a holiday or Christmas fragrance. So yeah, it's really gorgeous. And personally, I liked the Mountain Sunrise marketing better. And I hope I'm not just saying that because I prefer the Country Candle line. But I do think like the Mountain Chalet and the Mountain Sunrise like took me to a place in a way that like Snowcat Fraser kind of doesn't. Like it's fine. But at the same time, it's just kind of like an obvious marketing, whereas Mountain Sunrise, like, I tricked myself into believing that I was smelling a sunrise, that I was smelling a mountain, you know? And that means something in your experience. So, but I doubt that it's gonna come back in country, and who knows what's gonna happen with that country line. Although, I feel as though the brand ambassadors have been indicating that the Strength and Throw has improved on the new candles that have been coming down the pike over the last couple months. And if that's the case, I'm really heartened because there are several things that they probably need to change in terms of the way that the company is moving. But I would say that if they can only change one thing, it should definitely be like the Strength and Throw, the performance of their candles. It's basic, it's fundamental. And I'm getting whispers, or the brand ambassadors are now conceding the fact that the Strength and Throw is bad, but they're only conceding it because they're saying, but now it's so much better. So I actually think it may be the case because they were starting to, there were whispers, there really were, you know, even amongst friends late last year. That said, I'm still seeing things at Kringle that I'm not loving. Here we are in like not even the end of February, and we've got like how many new candles? How many of them? I mean, I haven't counted because I like put them on an app on my phone. So like I should have done that, but like what? Are we in the 30 range now? In mid-February? And the problem is too that with like that 3-wick fruit collection, nobody knows how many of them are new and how many of them are repackages because Kringle hasn't been transparent about it again. And even there have been questions asked in the Facebook group. The brand ambassadors don't know. Like, it's not okay. It's not okay. I would suspect most of those fruit candles are actually repackages. Also, they've got weird naming things too. Like some of the names have stayed the same, I think, from candles in past collections. Some of them have changed. I suspect there's no rhyme or reason to that. It's not okay. It's just not. And even Melanie, Mr. Kong's mom, like even Melanie admitted that she was overwhelmed, like in one of her last videos. Even she's overwhelmed by all of the new candles coming down the pike. And like they're getting some of them for free and even they're overwhelmed by it. So like and at any rate, I'm not seeing the kind of changes that I would like to see there. But there's a new reserve collection. There's a new reserve collection coming out on Thursday. And then also, I mean, we're on the cusp of another like big spring, summer like collection wave too. Like in another 2 weeks, we're gonna have another like 12 candles. At any rate, the mini reserve collection that is coming out on Thursday has some botanicals in it. I'm so excited. And to be honest, I catch myself at odd moments in the day thinking about like the fern candle that's coming out on the reserve one, and even butterfly sounds interesting. And then there was another one too, and I can't remember what it was, but it was like another botanical. And I was like, is it time to make a Kringle order? Is it time to spring for these reserves, even though they're so expensive? Because if the Strength and Throw really is improved, and if these are true botanicals, I'll tell you what though, if I get them and like, it's another like blue orchid situation, if you know what I mean, it is not gonna be okay. There's gonna be words, there's gonna be anger and frustration. So I just hesitate. But honestly, I'm super close to like pulling the trigger. It's been so long since I bought from Kringle, and I love the fact that I think the Strength and Throw is getting a little bit more attention, and whew, those candles look like right up my alley. I haven't seen any of the brand ambassadors get them yet, so that's unfortunate because we don't have any impressions. Although I can't say that botanicals, there aren't that many brand ambassadors right now who love botanicals, with the exception of Philly Candleman. Philly Candleman loves the botanicals. So I was really hoping at least he would get them, like prior to the launch. But maybe they won't sell out because they're not gourmands. So at any rate, I am considering it. But close parentheses, I think Kringle needs to change their release approach across the board with the limited editions, with the fact that many of these candles are only coming out in large jars. They're not even coming out in medium jars, let alone in daylights or in wax melts. Like there are just so many people, myself included, who are like not going to gamble on a large jar, not without smelling it first. And frankly, I'd rather buy it in like a medium, even if I love it. I burn too many candles, I really do. And I don't have the time to like burn that large of a candle. Even if I love it, I would much rather have a medium candle. So, and it still hasn't been revealed whether or not Kringle is doing away with that medium, or if they just are having like pouring issues, and that's why like some of these collections are not in mediums, where the daylights, like, I don't know. And it kind of goes in with this like limited edition mindset, which I don't love. And although it's probably not their intention, it kind of comes across like the company themselves are not confident in the quality of the candles that they're putting out. And they're just kind of like, it's a limited edition. You tell us, is this good? We'll pour it again if it is. But at that price point, like, you can't do that. You can't do that. I liked it better when there was like more restraint, fewer collections, and the collections kind of had a longevity to them, at least a seasonal longevity, if not longer. Like, this is our fall collection. This is our spring collection. Many of these will stay around for years. Many of them will, maybe not, but they will at least be here until they all sell out in like 6, 7, 8 months or whatever else it is, right? You get the reviews on the table. Consumers have the ability to kind of sit with them a little bit, to be able to recommend them, to be able to talk about how that candle landed, how it was received. When it's a limited edition, you just don't even have that. You don't. I mean, whether I like it or I don't, like, am I gonna be able to buy this candle again? I don't know. At any rate, I did not mean to go on like this, but I am still keeping my eye on Kringle. I'm seeing some things that I'm cautiously optimistic about. And who knows, if I have a weak moment tomorrow, I may get those reserve candles. You know the three. You know the three. All right, I'll link all the information down below for Snow-Capped Fraser. And for the fun of it, I will also link Mountain Chalet, which I think they have reformulated for Country Candle. And I have not tried it in the 100% soy. And I will also link Mountain Sunrise Daylight for fun. And more reviews to come from other companies. I will catch you in the next one.